Recently, Polygon announced a change in the site's review policy. Gone are the site's review scores, replaced with the Polygon Recommends program. Now, essays, videos, or reviews will include the Polygon Recommends badge as a sign the author feels comfortable supporting the game. As the announcement says, the badge is not a final verdict, nor an indication the author has played every moment the game has to offer. It's only a sign the author has played enough to feel confident endorsing the game. Polygon isn't the only site to stop using scores. Kotaku's never scored their reviews, and Eurogamer stopped scoring games at a 10 back in 2015. A host of YouTubers don't use traditional scoring systems. Super Bunny Hop and Colin Moriarty, among the very best writers of all gaming YouTubers, don't score their reviews at all. The gaming industry hasn't made this issue any easier to navigate either. The games as a service model has changed one-time finite purchases into long-term investments that undergo regular changes. Early access gives the public a chance to purchase and play along with game development, and services like Xbox Game Pass and PS Now give consumers easier access to games at lower costs. So how exactly do you render judgment on something you know is going to change? When is the appropriate time to rate a game? How much leeway do we give games in early access or a game as a service at launch? All these factors make reviewing games tricky, and really not just reviews, but the way we discuss, dissect, and purchase games has all changed. I don't think anyone would argue reviews aren't important. Reviews are, or at least should be, a safeguard between consumers and businesses, keeping said consumers informed and helping with their purchases while holding businesses accountable to the products they develop. At the same time, reviews should also be a critical analysis, an evaluation of more than just a game's commercial worth, but its worth as a work of art as well. Discussing and reconciling a game's commercial and artistic value is complicated, and turning that discussion into a one-element rating seems counterproductive. You lose a lot of nuance turning an entire evaluation into a single rating. The most crucial and informative part of any review is the review itself. This much is undeniable. But I don't think that loss of nuance from using scores warrants canning scores altogether. Scores do serve an important purpose. They're a tool for consumers, a tool with which to sift through the industry. Gain from the cost of nuance is time-sensitive and digestible versions of longer conversations. Scores in video games are like box scores in sports. Box scores collect all the essential stats for a game, the numbers, what players did right and what they did wrong, and which team won. But the only way to know the entire story of the game, the full context of those stats, is to actually watch it. And just like how not everyone has time to watch a 3.5-hour baseball game, not everyone has time to study multiple reviews before making a purchase. Scores also provide a way around spoilers. Not so much story spoilers, but mechanical spoilers. I wholeheartedly believe part of experiencing a game is discovering and learning how its mechanics work, how the game works. Elements reviews absolutely must explain and thoroughly critique. Just this year, when I played through God of War, unlocking and discovering Niflheim, an in-game challenge area, was amazing. I walked into it with minimal expectations and had to learn how it worked and what to do, and it was tons of fun. If I had read a God of War review before playing, the area may have been explained to me, but because of review scores, I knew consensus said God of War was phenomenal, so I felt comfortable buying the game without reading any reviews. I sympathize and am among those who'd rather jump into a game blind, unaware of what awaits them, but knowing a general consensus about the quality of a game. No doubt this is a two-way street. There is an element of consumer responsibility here. If we as consumers don't search for outlets or sites that review games in a way we want, then that's on us. But the media should still provide those means as a public service, regardless of how many people utilize it. I'd also like to make clear, I don't think outlets or YouTubers like Super Bunny Hop and Colin Moriarty are doing a disservice to their audience. They're not. They have distinct and specific styles that fit specific audiences. And it's not like the industry is lacking outlets that use review scores. The bigger issue is finding those outlets whose scores are clear and defined. We shouldn't conflate fatigue of 1 to 10 rating scales with fatigue of scores in general. I understand if you find trivial discussions about the difference between a 3 and 4 or 5 and 7 exhausting. I do too. But bad scoring systems shouldn't make us swear off scores altogether. Rather, it should make those who review games strive to craft clear, more defined review systems, and for consumers to find and follow those better review systems. There is an important distinction between bad and good and great. Consumers should know which games are better than others, and from an artistic standpoint, we should celebrate and set apart the best games ever made. I don't want to pick on Polygon too much, but their Polygon Recommends program feels a bit lacking. It's vague as to what recommends actually means. I'd recommend Earth Defense Force 4.1 to a lot of people. I'd also recommend Everspace to a lot of people. From a critical standpoint, however, Everspace is the better game, and that's what review review scores help sort out. Does simply recommending a game make its worth or quality sufficiently clear? I don't think it does. It's harder to write reviews than ever before. Games are never finished. They release expecting to change. Sometimes they release expecting to be fixed. How reviews should work in the era of games as a service and early access is a topic really fit for another video, but there's a place for scores in all that. They are not the end-all be-all solution, and I don't think anyone reasonable would argue that, but they're definitely part of the solution.